Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for episode 3 of Dune Prophecy, the mid-season point. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Dune Prophecy, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So yeah, we are officially at the mid-season point. This is only 6 episodes. I have been thinking for the first 2 weeks this was going to be 8. And after doing episode 2, like when the episode was still sitting with me, which you know that is a good episode, and I think this episode is going to do the same for me as well, is that I was like, damn, we covered a lot in that second episode. I don't know how we're going to be able to stretch this into 8 episodes because like we really covered a lot, and I just don't know how much steam we got. And then once I realized, oh, we're only doing 6. Oh, okay, yeah, no, and then I was able to calm down with it. And the same with this episode too. And tempo and pacing has been a big talking point on this channel. How episode 1 was a little bit of a slow start. Overall, it was pretty slow. I felt like it dragged a little bit. Episode 2, tempo picked up a little bit. It was about the pace and tempo that I wanted for the following weeks. This episode was, to me, absolutely perfect. I didn't feel the runtime whatsoever. I didn't feel like it just flowed very, very well. To me, this is probably my favorite episode thus far, and it was a flashback episode of Mother Valia and Mother Tulin. And I honestly did not know this. Unless I missed a line in the first 2 episodes, I did not know they were actually sisters. And that was quite the reveal to me as the episode was progressing. Like, oh, they're not just sisters in the sisterhood. They are actually sisters of blood who are now running this whole entire coven. And I gotta say, well, not coven. I'm getting Agatha mixing in with me now. But this whole entire sisterhood. And I gotta say, honestly, if this was the whole show, I would have been completely on board seeing Mother Valia rise to power. Now, overall, I still don't fully like her. Again, another talking point that we had, I was like, look, if Mother Valia is our main character, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to go on the ride with y'all. Well, I'm going to go on the ride with y'all, but I just don't know if I'll necessarily like it because, to me, she's just unlikable. As a character, not the actress. The actress is fine. Both of them, the young and the older version of it, just because, you know, she is like what her parents say, which was another big revelation for me. I was like, Mother Featherton and oh my God, the king from Game of Thrones season 1. I was like, well, there's definitely going to be a sex scene in this episode, and sure enough, there was, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. But it was cool seeing them the way they treat her, how they're like, yeah, you're so stubborn, you know, it has to be in your way, it always has to be your way, what you say is right, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I do kind of see the point. Now, no one deserves to be treated the way she was, but and also seeing her getting treated that way, I do understand how she is. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? After the way you've been treated as a child, how you were at your home life, do what you gotta do to survive here at the sisterhood, because yeah, I'll be damned if I'm gonna be treated that way in 2 different places. But at the same time, I still am not fully a fan of her, but I do enjoy watching her though. And great performance from the young Valia, and how when she discovered that the voice wasn't, how unstoppable she truly was. Seeing how the old head mother took her in, like when she was trying to, she never said her vows or whatever. I can't do the hand symbol that they had. It was really cool how they had it, and how she was just sitting there in the rain. She goes, yeah, no, come on. She goes, well, I didn't take my vows. Yeah, come on. You don't need to worry about that. And them having the conversation. And again, just seeing that rise to power and how she did take over that one girl where she truly had the whole world in her hands, and now she's having to share it. And how she was this conflict of her going, do I need to go home? Do the Harkonnen name still means so much to me, so I can't fully commit to the sisterhood, especially with what happened to her brother from the Atreides. Making the Atreides line from last week's episode, I thought it was just a thing of, oh, she knows the prophecy that Paul of Atreides is going to be the man. Like, yeah, no, you don't need to deal with him. But no, it turns out is that her sister was the one who went out to get the revenge for her brother's death, which I kind of would have liked to see, because from the beginning, and you know, this is just part of running 6 episodes, and this is part of the things that probably would have been dragged out. If I do see the brother's death, which is something I would have liked to see, if I would have seen Mother Tulin's love story with the Atreides to make it feel much more, because that's another complaint I have with it, is that, again, we'll get into the love scene later, but at the end where like she's having a conflict, I didn't really fully feel it. to me personally. To see all those things, that's probably where the tempo comes into play, and that it would probably feel a little bit dragged out if we did add those things. So it might be a case of, I'm sure they filmed it, but they cut it due to time. And overall, again, because I did not feel the tempo pacing whatsoever, I do think that was the right decision to make. It was just some places I was just like, yeah, that was a little quick, but it is what it is. But yeah, since their brother's death, they made the plan, all right, look, you're going to be with the Atreides, you're going to find a way to get all of them together, and you're going to kill them all to make sure that this bloodline does not continue whatsoever. And little did she know, she kept one alive in the end, because she did most of it, and she just doesn't have the heart in it, because at the end of the day, Tulin is a nice person, to a degree. I mean, I don't know how nice of a person you can be to kill a bunch of people, but she was nice enough to let that kid go, and that one bloodline kept it going to get to where we are at the end of Dune Part 2. So let's talk about Tulin's storyline, which was really interesting to me too, because I was worried when we cut to it first. I was like, why are we sticking on her? Because again, I did not know that, that's her actual sister from back in the present time that she left in charge, that is still grieving from the death of her sacred daughter, pretty much. And that ending of Revelation of like, nope, she's keeping her alive, and she's going to try to get her back alive, which I do think she is going to succeed at. I don't know if it'll be a good successful, but she will be successful nonetheless. That girl is coming back to life at some point. But seeing this love story, how, hey, we're going to meet my parents, or, we're going to meet the family, all that, and cutting back to it, I was like, this might be where the tempo goes out. No, it still flowed through quite a bit. I was very interested. I was very engaged. The actress who plays young Tulin was also really good on with her abilities as well, like the storyline with the horse, and how he's like, how'd you know how to do that? And then we get to the love scene. And, someone talked about it on my immediate reaction for episode 2 last week. And, I didn't really think of it like that at the time, but after seeing it, it's hard, to not keep it sorted out. It's like, in a way, Dune Prophecy is Game of Thrones in space. Because we have had a love scene every single week so far. Episode 1, they were in a bar and they were getting high, right? Something like you were seeing Game of Thrones, and then there was a love scene. Episode 2, there was a love scene that after they got done, they stayed naked and talked politics, and then they were going to go for round 2. Kind of like in Game of Thrones, right? Episode 3, this girl is going to commit mass murder on her fiance's family. But yet she's going to sleep with him because she's also going to kill him as well. Out of all three of them I could believe to a certain extent, and I do think they're necessary. I'm not one of those people who is like, just cut all sex scenes out of movies. They're not needed. It's not necessary, blah, blah, blah. I do think some of them are. If it serves the story well, by all means, do it. Also, if you just want to have it in there, do it. I'm not going to really complain. But it was brought up, and I do think Dune is a IP that will go, hey, we're not going to do something unless we think it's necessary. This one, I don't know how it was necessary. I just don't see. Now, look, granted, I'm not someone who thinks about murdering my fiance or anyone for that matter, but I just don't see why she would want to sleep with him and then proceed to kill him while his whole family's dying. I will say it was beautiful cinematography. The cutting back and forth and the editing with the music and all that. Like, you could tell something eerie was going on, but at the same time, it was just like, there was just a bunch of different things going on there, but it felt eerie throughout. It's like, well, she's doing something. Because she was going, hey, you need to go out there with them, because like this clearly wasn't part of the plan. But the horse caused a monkey in the wrench. And then it was when she goes, yeah, my brother died. I was like, oh. Because it was cutting back to the present time as well. And again, it was just that one scene. Again, beautifully shot, but it was the only one I was like, don't really know if we necessarily need it. And I don't really think her as a character would do that either, with how, again, nice she is for the most part. But I will say now, retroactively, this does make the Sisterhood storyline in the current time much more interesting, because again, we need to have that talk about Atreides, because there is Atreides alive, and I know Mother Valia is going to be like, why isn't all the Atreides dead? You just missed one. You failed. You failed me, and it's going to be something because, again, she's just so high-strung. Like, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, and it has to be in her way, in her light. Otherwise, what was the point? And I'm really curious to see how that conversation goes out. I'm curious to see the conversation between her and her dad in current times. Because, you know, they do just bully her, and they are just really ruthless and mean to her, to a point where it is kind of unnecessary, even though, again, I do kind of see their point. They just need to deliver it a different way. Again, that's just me. But I'm curious to see how that goes forward. I'm curious to see now that the kingdom is being run by, what's his name? He was one of the better performers in episode 1 and 2, but the guy who also has power to kill the little kid and the other sister. Now that he's pulling the strings, how is that going to play? Everything has just elevated quite a bit. Why I am really excited for this second half to come through, and I am anticipating Sunday nights now. At first, it was just like, yeah, okay, Dune's on. Yeah, I'm going to tune in to watch that, of course. But now it's just like, oh, I can't wait for Sunday to watch the next episode of Dune. And I hope y'all feel the same way. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on it. If you did make it this far in this review, please leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And also hit that subscribe button, as we do have a lot of content heading your way shortly. We have Creature Commandos coming up very shortly. I do believe it comes out this week. Skeleton Crew starts tomorrow. And of course, if you're into wrestling, we have the Raw and SmackDown reviews as well. Squid Game will most likely be covering that as well, and What If, and then of course 2025 is a whole other can of worms. So hit that subscribe button to go on that journey with us. And until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.